between two different types of coaching system. Jay is going to be the man. Max is going to be on slides. Jay, would you like to explain what we're about to do?
Yep. So we're going to look at the difference between meta-coaching and the meta-coach training system and developmental coaching, which is what we cover in the coach mentoring system, and how they're different, and then to really look at how one transcends includes the other, and why people come into coach mentoring to learn to coach developmentally, because it's a completely different paradigm. And so it's taking coaching to the next level. As far as we can see, there isn't an ontological coaching program in the world that can touch it.
Okay. So where should we begin? Do you want to bring up the slides, Max? Let's get into people's heads what the two programs are to start with, Jay. Before we get into the detail, let's get a little bit more, because it needs a little bit of clarity for everyone, I feel. Okay, so what programs does the coaching room do around each of these?
So to learn how to coach, the meta-coach training system has 3 modules, which is NLP, module 2, which is called Coaching Genius, which is the first 3 days of NLP Master Practitioner, and then an 8-day coaching mastery program where we bring Michael Hall out from the States, and he co-facilitates with James Hayes, our Director of Coaching and Training, a 8-day immersion into the field of meta-coaching itself. And so,
okay.
Yep. So that's the first one.
That's the first one.
The second one, developmental coaching, is a 6-month coaching where the coach is coached, coach mentoring where the coach is mentored through the process of coaching other people, and supervision where the coach is supervised and turns inwards and has a look at their self developmentally in service of their own development, in service of their client's development.
Okay, perfect. So, Max, shall we move a little into content?
So the first thing is, lots of people ask us, and the reason I chose this as a subject is lots of people ask, what's the difference between what I've done in terms of becoming a meta coach, and I've invested, 1, 2, maybe 3 years of my life into learning the field of meta coaching. What's the difference between that and what you call developmental coaching? So let's talk about some of those differences. So one transcends and includes the other and takes it to a much deeper level of ontological coaching. I'll talk about what ontology is versus epistemology, which is how I know what I know, how I make meaning for myself. So meta coaching starts off with understanding the NLP communication model first and foremost, and being really fluid in that NLP communication model. That is understanding that there are no problems out here, only problems in my representation of which is an inside job, of out here. So that's NLP 101, how I represent the world. I don't ever have a problem in the world. I have a problem about how I view the world. So that's the first component part. We learn that in NLP practitioner. Then either in Coaching Genius or Master Practitioner, we begin to learn that around meta states and the self-reflexive mind and self-reflexive consciousness, and we start to understand that the mind is indeed very fluid, and it is through the process of meta stating that we create frameworks called meta programs, which are cognitive biases which drive our perceptions. And we begin to coach to the meta programs driving, which are the frames, driving the meaning, driving the game, driving our performance. And so it's the meaning or framework that drives the performance that we're concerned about in meta coaching. And so that we change the meaning, we change the output, we change the performance. With meta coaching, what we're doing is we're looking at the human being issue by issue, point by point, challenge by challenge, problem by problem, and we're helping them with individual structures around a problem. So we're using the well-formed outcome, which is an NLP pattern. We're using the well-formed outcome to get to the heart of what is going on in a particular context, with a particular person, and with my structuring of meaning around that. How am I creating a problem for myself? So that's the core of basis of meta coaching. Meta coaching is necessary. It's an absolutely necessary tool in a coach's evolutionary development, but it's not sufficient. And so it's not sufficient because it's still looking at the human being in a fragmented way. It's not looking holistically at the whole human being and their developmental process overall. And that's where developmental coaching comes into its own. So meta coaching is the discipline of applying the NLP communication model directly to coaching in a structured way wrapped around the well-formed outcome. It's essential because it builds the 7 core skills that a coach needs to be able to be able to coach. Listening, which is being able to listen to what is said, what is not said, and non-verbal outputs, to frames and frameworks and meta programs driving perception, belief structures, value structures, identity structures, being able to listen to a person's physiology, calibrate and connect that to what it is they are and aren't saying. So being able to listen to their eye accessing cues, keywords, whether they're processing visually, auditory, kinesthetically, etc. Listening to all of that comes from meta coaching, is being able to listen, being able to connect, relate, and support a person through deep rapport, being able to lead and to engage, awaken, and induce states within yourself and within people, being able to ask meta-model questions, being able to ask meta questions, being able to give and being able to receive feedback are the core skills taught in meta coaching, are absolutely essential. Those 7 skills well drilled into you, and this is where meta coaching's brilliance is, then you cannot coach at the next level. But again, it's not enough because it doesn't go deep. Even though it's a skills development platform, it doesn't go deeply enough into the human being, and that's the difference that makes a difference in developmental coaching.
Okay. Should we talk a little about developmental coaching then? How it goes into the human being? What's the central models?
Developmental coaching starts with integral theory. And so the beautiful thing about integral theory is integral theory transcends and includes meaning-making structures, yet completely misses it. And so NLP brings an immense amount and meta coaching brings an immense amount of skill base that integral theory doesn't have and doesn't yet quite understand. So when we find people come from integral theory into NLP, they're blown away because it's really filling in the missing blanks of how we construct our reality. People in integral theory know that we construct reality and they know that we deal through that construct. They just don't know how specifically, and that's what NLP adds. Developmental coaching takes the lenses and the tools that Ken Wilber has created through the study of developmental psychologists, through his own inward journey to understanding the human condition and human psychology, as well as merging the best of Eastern philosophy into that Western psychology, and has created a movement which is second to none on the planet as far as we're concerned, of spiritual enlightenment, and from there have brought in some tools that enable us to coach at a deeper level. When applied to NLP, allow us to go much faster and much deeper in with the client, to look at the structures of how I create my personality and maintain my personality, and how that structure then literally guides my perception. And
okay.
So, yep.
No, I'll let you continue. Now I've got the questions.
So developmental coaching, in a nutshell, adds more complexity, yet in that complexity is much more simplicity. So it's training. What we do is we train people to do far less, not more. Now, we train them to do far less, not more, by giving them the developmental frameworks to look at and as the client. And as they look at and as the client through these developmental frameworks, there's more to see and less to do. And so I can use this to go, where is the person stuck, not only in their perception, but developmentally in their stage of development, in the amount of perspectives they can take on in a given problem, in the lines of development, where have they not developed their self, whether it's morally in their decision-making capacities, whether it's spatial in their spatial capacities, somatics in their experience of their body and understanding of their physiology, whether it's in their cognitive intelligence or their emotional intelligence, their capacity to see through multiple perspectives, or their capacity to connect, relate, and communicate with themselves and with others. Not only to add to that, meta programs, the Enneagram personality structure profile, which reveals the very core foundations of the struggles that I created for myself really early on in my childhood that I still carry around today, that play out in personality-based structures. We bring all of those lenses together to look at and as the client to better understand what's missing developmentally, what's next developmentally, how is this conversation that we're having, how does it fit into the structure of where the person is unfolding and developmentally in the moment, and then what's the leverage point for not only change with regards to this particular challenge or problem that they're working on, but to unleash and unlock answers to all the other developmental problems that go along with that.
What's the difference that people find having done both as a coach?
That they're doing far less, that they're moving faster with the client. So an intake session, which is what we wrap the developmental coaching around, an intake session should take no longer than 20 minutes, potentially 30 minutes at a pinch, for a developmental coach to get to the heart of the soul of the person and what is the self-belief structure running the object relations, running all of the meta programs, running the personality structures, running their behaviors and their performance that is either enabling them or holding them back. No more than 20 to 30 minutes to cut right through and identify what is the one thing that if we were to work on together would make a developmental change for you in a short period of time. And so that's what we do. We train people to have, and I've got videos that we give people who come into the cohorts. We got 5 or 6 of them now, where it's between 8 minutes and 20 minutes having a conversation that cuts through to the heart of things. And not only me, but our students doing those, holding those intake sessions with people as well. So where our students are transcending and including where I'm coming from, where James and where Madeline are coming from, to coach at what we believe to be, experience to be the highest level of coaching worldwide.
Okay. Let's go back to the meta coaching. What are the likely issues that people who have done the course, they're acting as a coach or they're going after work as a coach, that they face? So what symptoms are people experiencing potentially, so they can connect and relate that the developmental route is a step beyond?
So as a coach, I've got the skills to coach. I've been benchmarked. I've been put through my paces. I've had feedback. I understand my strengths. I understand what I need to work on. I'm working on those things. I'm reading those things. I'm practicing those things. And I'm people are saying, wow, that's just phenomenal. Thank you so much. That changes the whole way I see, the world. but in themselves going, I'm not coaching to the level of a level of potential that I see available in myself and in others. And I'm not sure, I know that there's much, much more, but I'm not sure how to get it. I'm not sure how to access it. I'm not sure how to engage that part of myself that knows I can do this quicker, faster, better. And quicker, faster, better, because I know I've seen it. I've had it demonstrated to me by the trainers training me. How do I get to their level so that no matter who's sitting in front of me, whether it's Barack Obama or whether it's a teacher from Newcastle, that it just does not matter who's in front of me and what their current struggle or challenge is, that I'm able to unfold with them effortlessly, easily, and quickly with efficacy, knowing that no matter what I face, I'm confident within myself that I'll be able to rise to the challenge.
Okay, great. Max, do you want to show another content slide? If you would. Should we run a little further? Jay.
So what's the content slide we're on now?
We are now on the all quadrants, all levels.
Okay.
States of content,
yeah.
Lines of development.
So that's the ACWAL. So that's looking at stages of development. So stages of development, we human beings mature through stages, and so we get from first to second to third to fourth to potentially fifth and even sixth and maybe even seventh person perspective. And so each of those stages it's a bit like climbing a stage ladder. Each of those stages are developmental stages of meaning-making structures that go from egocentric to ethnocentric, so from me to us, from ethnocentric into world-centric into universal-centric, and so on, so that I'm starting to see more and more and more. The struggle is each of those developmental stages has its delight and has its disaster. Understanding and working through the developmental stages in and of themselves enables people to move through those stages and release themselves from the switch points that are created developmentally throughout our lives through trauma and experience much faster than almost anything else we've been able to see, aside from, committing yourself to 2 hours of meditation a day. Developmental coaching is probably the fastest way to move through those developmental stages. And so it's looking at that developmental psychology that sits behind a human being and unlocking that simultaneously while working through a day-to-day challenge. That's the main difference. Meta coaching will work through the day-to-day challenge. Developmental coaching will cut to the heart of the day-to-day challenge, get into the developmental challenge that sits behind it, and unleash the human being not only in that challenge, but in the majority of the challenges they're facing through as they look through their stage of meaning-making structures.
And the program over 6 months is the individual as a coach going through this process before they take anyone else through.
Absolutely. So your development as a coach is critical because you can't take someone past where you haven't gone. You can't speak from it. You can't reveal it to them. You can't show them the limit of their perspective without having seen the limit of yours. And so it is learning developmental coaching develops you. It cannot not develop you. And so it is a developmental process in and of itself for the coach, who must undergo that in order to facilitate development of their clients. Correct.
Max, we've got a couple of programs coming up that people can join. Do you want to bring on the next slides? Do you want to go through?
Sure. So as Jay mentioned, we run a coaching, mentoring, and supervision program. And this is usually offered to people who have gone through the MetaCoach training track, but not exclusively. It is definitely a suggestion. And so the program in itself is a 6-month program. Within that 6 months, there are 12 content webinars. So they are 12 different topics or developmental lenses we go through each fortnight. We have 12 calls in the off weeks with the group to unpack and debrief those sessions and really refine the learning through shared experience. Then there's the mentoring component part of the program, which is 6 one-on-one sessions with a mentor, whether that would be Jay, James, or Madeline, where, say, if I was a student, I would be practicing my developmental coaching with other people on the cohort, recording that session, and then bringing that session in with my mentor. One-on-one with my mentor, we would unpack it. We would find out, what lenses, what Enneagram type, what quadrant, what meta programs, what's the identity structure that's going on here, so that we can really reshape and refine and really hone the skill of developmental coaching from that perspective. Then there is the one day face-to-face supervision session where the cohort will come together to practice their coaching and receive live in the moment feedback on their coaching, on their skills, with others in the cohort. And so that's the logistics of the program. We commence on the 17th of July, which is in 2 or 3 weeks, and that is on a Monday. Now, we limit the program to 12 new coaches per program, and we do have a couple of seats left. And so if this is something that you've been thinking about, our suggestion is that you move on that now. Because it's a 6-month program, the next intake will be in January 2018. And the price of the program is $4,995. We're offering the standard payment options, which is a 10% off for upfront payment or a 6-month interest-free payment plan. And so if you're on this call as part of the community, we want to offer you something else. And so that's going to be a free stage assessment to determine what level of consciousness or level of development are you sitting at right now. And that test is usually about $400. And so we want to be able to gift that to you if you want to book on the program, as well as a 1-hour unpacking session with Jay. And so if you've got questions about the program, you can contact Jay. I've got his email and his phone number on the screen there. If you do want to book now, send me an email. And my email is max.young@thecoachingroom.com.au.
And one of the big points of difference is we're about the reason we run this program. We started to run this program as a selfish reason. We need a coaching room. That's how we got James. That's how we got Madeline. That's how we got Max. That's how we got Sue. It's how we got all of our coaches. Is we grew them out of this program, and that's what this program was designed to do for us, was produce the world's best standard coaches. And so we do, of the cohort, we do, those people who give themselves to the process, we do take them and continue. So the mentoring program, once you join the mentoring program, you can come and do subsequent cohorts again and again and again and again and again. And so we've had people, Rob Brown has come and done the program maybe 6 or 7 times now. It's part of his ongoing supervision as a coach, and it doesn't cost him any more or anybody else anymore to come back and do the program again and again and again. And that's because we're committed to building the highest quality coaches in the world, and we're doing that for your benefit, but also for our benefit, because as we expand, we need more and more coaches who can coach at the level that we can coach. And it's difficult to find that. There aren't any out there. They need to be created. They need to understand the possibility of them as a coach, and then to see that possibility, that potential, and realize it. So the program's designed to awaken that within people and for them to keep going until they are awake to their potential as a coach.
My next question, last question potentially. Will this help? I know it's important for some people. Will this help individuals who are coaches already earn more money?
That's an impossible one to answer, because the business of coaching and whether they are able to charge for and have the business skills to build a marketing program that's going to bring the clients in isn't up to this program. It's up to them building those skills set.
I wasn't so much going that way with that. I was more looking at the abilities that they have to take themselves into the marketplace. And the reason why I say it, and it's a slightly loaded question, is because I know, because over the last 3 months, we've been getting a lot more exec coaching, corporate coaching, developmental coaching within the coaching room, because I've been working on that side. I know that the abilities that you guys have got and that the programs that are going on is working incredibly well. So it was a slightly loaded question. Whether people have got the marketing funnel, that's a different thing. But in terms of the confidence that individuals have had that the abilities is matching the higher end, that's where I was going with that, Jay, because that's what I'm seeing.
Then to that answer that question, absolutely. Yeah, because it's going to enable, what it enables a person to do is sit with somebody and within 10 to 20 minutes point to what's going on at the very heart of that human being, reveal the structure of their personality, point to the belief structures that are coming out their mouth, and almost to speak as if they've known the person their whole life. It blows people away, and it takes it. Here's what it does, Martin. It takes money out of the equation. So we charge $1,000 a session for executive coaching. It takes that $1,000 out the equation. It's not even discussed most of the time, because the person we're sat in front of is so utterly blown away, never ever having realized that even the potential of what they've seen in this 20-minute session is even possible in reality, and to look at the potential of what it is to move that for themselves. It's not. Money doesn't even come into the equation. So yes.
Excellent. Max, you got the slide back up on the main screen. Everybody, hopefully you've enjoyed the session. You've got the information there to get in touch with Jay or to Max. You've also got the offer that Max has made. Get in touch and see you all.
You want to talk about the MetaCoach Refresher Day we're running in
Yes, so we're running a MetaCoach Refresher Day for you, for our community, on the Saturday, 22nd of July. Now, this event is free to attend, and we'll be holding it in the University of Sydney in the Business School. And so really what the day is about, there's 3 component parts to the day. The first is to refresh the core coaching skills and the models of the MetaCoach training system. That will be done with James. And then we'll give you an update on the coaching industry and really how that's impacting upon leadership and HR in organizations throughout Australia. And we're going to reveal to you an offer, how you can turn your ACMC certification into a nationally recognized qualification with Australia's first and only diploma of professional coaching. And so if you want to know more about that, send me an email, an RSVP. We don't want to give too much away, but it's going to be an intense day. And so if that's something that you want to do and something that's you move to do, then RSVP to that event.
Our only requirement is that you're a MetaCoach or have completed ACMC.
There you have it. If you're interested in either or both, you know who to get in touch with. Thank you so much. Do leave comments below, and we'll see you in the Facebook community too. Thank you, Max, for all the slides and all the work there, and thanks to Jay. Take care.
Bye.